Welcome to one of our first fly tying episodes here, and today we're going to be teaching you how to tie a rubber legs stonefly. Out west, this is one of my favorite patterns this time of year, but also back east, and even if you're smallmouth fishing too, nymphing these things can be really, really effective. One of the reasons this fly is so cool is because it's really heavy. It's got a lot of wire wrap in it, which we're going to show you when we tie it here. These legs have a lot of movement in the water. So even if you're nymphing it down through, and the currents are really going to affect those legs and make them wiggle a lot, really an awesome fly and super cheap, easy to tie, and you can make these in any color combo under the sun. So we'd love to see the ones that you make. Please tag us in them and follow along. We're going to show you how to tie this fly. So we're going to start out with one of our favorite nymph hooks. This one's got a cool bend in it here at the front. Kind of gives it a little bit of a bent shape over the back of the fly, so I like that. One of my favorite things about this fly is you can make them super, super heavy. You've got a lot of space right here that you can wire wrap, and we're going to do just that with non-toxic, non-lead wire wrap. This is the 0.030 size. So we're just going to get quite a bit of this out here and we're going to wrap it. When I'm tying, I like to have a kind of a trash pair of cutters just so I don't dull up my really nice scissors while I'm doing this. So I've got a pretty long piece of my non-lead wrap, but that we're just going to call lead wrap. We're going to get that put on. One thing that I do like to be mindful of when I'm making these is I don't like to crowd the hook at all. So the gap of the hook, I don't want to kind of decrease that. So my wrap is going to start just in front of that gap. And I'm going to wrap it all the way forward. So now we've got that wrapped. I got my trash pair of cutters. Going to come in and trim this out. Then I like to take a pair of tweezers and come in and just bend down that little tag. Just makes it nice and clean. And there we have it. Boom. Now I'm going to start my thread at the very back here. And just like with a lot of other flies, we're just going to start at the rear and work forwards. Oh, big fat hot dog fingers can't hold these things. Very first step of this fly is we're going to tie in some rubber legs. So I like the round rubber. This is just the medium-sized black round rubber legs. And each of these flies has 5 of them. So I really like to just go ahead and cut out a bunch of these, lay all the legs out before I get going. It's a lot easier if you decide to tie, 5 or 6 of these at a time. So I'm going to get this leg going, and it takes a little bit of patience working with these rubber legs, but I like to just have one leg there, and we're going to tie it in a fork at the back. I know that's not squared, but we're going to square it up here in a bit. Don't worry about that. Just make sure your legs are a little long when you tie them in so that you can trim them to length. Next, we're going to add in our chenille. So the cool thing is this fly is mostly just chenille. So this is the coffee color. We're going to start it. Because this stuff is a little thin, I'm actually going to start it right here to add just a little bit of bulk without that wire wrap. And we're going to go ahead and just set that in our materials clip back this way. Next step is just to add legs as we work forwards. So stoneflies do have 3 legs. They kind of have the rear split tail and the little antenna parts. That's what we're imitating with the front 2. But with these in the middle, we're going to imitate their legs. So we're going to put 3 of these rubber legs up the body. So first step, I like to just lay them on kind of and get them spaced out a little bit as I like them. But I like to just do an X wrap over the top and then pull the legs. That kind of gets that X wrap to sit nice and on top of them. And we're just going to do a couple more of those. And just kind of tighten them up so that they're nice and strong in there. Wrap forwards and do another. So we can see this X wrap kind of has our legs a little messed up. But if we just give them a nice pull, that gets that wrap seated on top. Don't get too anal and worked up about these legs not exactly going with you. we're going to use this chenille as we wrap forwards to help coax our legs into which direction we want them to go. One more leg to add. We get that onto the very front here. Last thing we're going to do is add this last leg as a fork pointing straight outwards. So we're going to tie that one in. I like to use that wire wrap to help make me get that shape too, because it's going to push those legs forwards. Holy shit, that was awful. There we go. Nope. Jesus Christ. You think I've never tied a Pat's rubber legs before? I'm trying to make it look good for the video, and
so much pressure.
Just a lot of pressure that I'm under today. Try to perform. How are your fly time videos going? Oh yeah, well I choke as soon as I try to do rubber legs. Oh my God. All right, guys, we've got all of our legs on here. Last step is just to wrap this chenille forwards, or palmer it forwards. This means wrapping it. So we're just going to wrap this whole body with this chenille. So I do have a true rotary vise, so I'm just going to tie off this thread real quick. I've got a half hitch tied on here at the front. We're just going to slide that in my bobbin cradle. Give me plenty of room to work with this chenille. So this stuff is pretty thin. I like to buy the thin chenille because the tighter you pack it, the thicker it gets. So you kind of get to decide how slim or thick you want the body if you buy the thin stuff. If you buy the thick stuff, it's only going to be thick. So we're going to start rotating this and just spinning it up. And for this tail section, just kind of work it pretty quick till I get to these legs. Now once you're here, you're just going to use this material to, on either side, push those legs in the direction that you kind of want them to go. So we can see that middle leg there is being a little wily for me. So I'm going to get a wrap just on the back side of it to help push it forwards. Just like that. There we go. Got our body done. Last thing there is to do is just tie it off and whip finish. Going with a nice sharp pair of scissors and trim that. Lose your whip finishing tool. Whip finish, and we're just going to whip finish right around the eye of the hook up here. I like to just use my other hand to bend those legs back so I can access it. Get that nice and tight. Throw your scissors. Perfect. Last step that I'm going to do is just come in here and kind of trim these up. So I like to just put a little bit of pressure to push these together and try not to pull them as much as you can. Grab all those legs and pull them down. The fish don't care, I don't think, if these legs are even, but, you know, you probably do, or your fishing buddies probably do. Even those up, and then last we're going to do the same thing with the tail. It's helpful to know as well, if you tie a lot of these, where on your vise jaws think different links line up to be. So maybe, like, I just know that on all my rubber legs, I like to trim the rubber tails as it sits right here with this collar. That could be a helpful little trick for you. Anyways, one of my favorite patterns is this rubber legs here. It's an awesome little nymph. It's extremely versatile. It's cheap. They're quick to tie. You can tie them in any color under the sun. Try some different chenille and leg combos. Let us know what works for you for both trout and bass. Guys, thanks for following along. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Make sure you remember to like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to our channel. That helps us a lot to keep producing these videos for you. We're here filming a 3-part mini-series on nymphing. So, first thing was to tie a nymph for you guys. Next, we're going to show a rigging video of how to rig up a nymph rig. That's one of the most asked questions we get. I just showed you my personal one. There's about 1 billion ways that you can rig up a nymph rig, and everyone has their own, but I show you mine in another video. Last, we teach you how to cast a nymph rig. Get that question a ton. Obviously, if you're headed out west, you're going on a guided trip, maybe it's something you're not really used to doing, is throwing bigger flies, a lot of weight, big indicators. We're going to teach you a cool cast to do that. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned.